Have you ever poured your heart into someone, only to watch them walk away without a second glance? You stopped texting, stopped calling, hoping your silence would scream loud enough to pull them back. But instead, they're out there living, laughing, posting stories like you never existed. And you're left wondering, why doesn't it hurt them like it hurts you? If you've ever felt invisible, like your absence carried no weight, this video is for you. I'm your name. And on ZENLIGHT, we're diving deep into how to transform that pain into power, using the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and practical self-improvement strategies you can start applying today. Stick with me to the end, because I'm going to show you how to make your silence deafening, not to win her back, but to reclaim the man you were always meant to be. Let's get started. Picture this. It's 2 a.m. Your phone's dark, and you're staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of that relationship. You stopped texting her weeks ago, maybe even months. You thought your silence would be this grand gesture, a void so heavy she'd feel it across the miles and come running back. But she didn't. You check her Instagram, and there she is, smiling at a concert, sipping coffee with friends, living a life that doesn't even hint at your absence. And that cuts deeper than any rejection ever could. Why? Because you believed your silence would matter. You thought it would echo in her mind, make her question her choice. But here's the brutal truth. Silence, when it's just a mask for your pain, is invisible. It's not strength, it's a pause in your weakness, a quiet cry for validation that she'll never hear. On ZENLIGHT, we're not here to sugarcoat things. We're here to face the truth head on, with the clarity of Stoicism and the fire of self-improvement. Let's unpack why your silence isn't working and how to make it a force that reshapes your life. When you go silent out of hurt, out of hope that she'll notice, you're not really silent. You're screaming with every glance at her stories, every moment you spend wondering if she's thinking of you. That's not power, that's surrender. The ancient Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, taught us that we only control what's within us, our thoughts, our actions, our choices. You can't control her feelings, her choices, or whether she misses you, but you can control what you do with this moment. Right now, your silence is tethered to her. You're not moving forward, you're just waiting, frozen in the same emotional space she left you in. And she knows it. Not because she's cruel, but because human beings, especially women, wired by evolution to read emotional cues, can sense when your energy is still orbiting them. It's not silence if your heart's still chasing her. It's just a quieter form of begging. Let me tell you about a guy I know. Let's call him Jake. Jake was crushed when his girlfriend of 3 years walked away. He went silent, deleted her number, stopped liking her posts. But every night, he'd scroll through her socials, analyzing every smile, every caption, hoping to find a crack in her happiness. He thought his absence would make her regret leaving. Months passed, and nothing changed. She was thriving, while Jake was stuck, his silence a hollow shell. Then he stumbled across a Stoic principle. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That hit him like a freight train. He realized his silence wasn't about her, it was about him. He was waiting for her to validate his worth, and that was the root of his weakness. So how do you break this cycle? First, you have to cut the emotional cord. Delete her number, not to punish her, but because you don't need it anymore. Block her on social media, not out of spite, but because your mental real estate is too valuable to waste on someone who doesn't see your worth. This isn't about erasing her, it's about reclaiming you. The Stoics believed in amor fati, loving your fate. Her leaving wasn't a curse, it was a gift. It's the spark that forces you to confront who you are and who you want to be. Next, channel that emotional energy into action. Start small, but start now. Hit the gym, not to post selfies for her to see, but because every drop of sweat builds a stronger you. Pick up a book, maybe Ryan Holiday's The Obstacle is the Way, and feed your mind with ideas that make you bulletproof. Set a goal like running a 5K in under 25 minutes or learning a skill that could boost your income. In 2025, the world moves fast. AI, remote work, new opportunities. Learn to code, master a trade, or build a side hustle. The average American man spends 3 hours a day on social media. Imagine redirecting just one of those hours into something that makes you undeniable. That's where the real silence begins, not in what you don't say, but in what you do. When Jake started this journey, he didn't just go quiet. He became a man on a mission. He hit the gym, dropped 15 pounds, and started a podcast about personal growth. He didn't do it for her. He did it because he realized his life was bigger than one rejection. And you know what happened? 6 months later, she texted him. Not because he chased her, but because his transformation was impossible to ignore. He didn't respond, not out of pride, but because he was too busy building a life he loved. That's the silence that shakes the ground. It's not about disappearing. It's about emerging as a man who doesn't need anyone's approval to stand tall. So, if you're sitting in that pain right now, feeling like your silence is invisible, ask yourself, are you waiting for her to notice? Or are you building a life that makes you proud? Drop a comment below with one thing you're going to do today to start this journey. Maybe it's hitting the gym, picking up a book, or just deleting that contact. Let's make this real. And if this resonates, stick around, because next we're diving into why women don't feel your absence the way you expect, and how to change that by becoming a man they can't predict. Let's get real for a moment. You've gone silent, cut off contact, maybe even convinced yourself you're moving on. But deep down, you're still hoping she feels the weight of your absence. You're waiting for that text, that call, that sign she's rattled by your disappearance. Yet weeks go by and there's nothing. Her life seems fuller, brighter, like you were just a footnote she's already forgotten. Why doesn't she feel it? Why does your silence, which feels so heavy to you, seem to slide right off her? On ZENLIGHT 18, we're peeling back the layers with Stoicism and raw self-improvement to understand this, because the answer isn't about her, it's about you. Women, by design, are wired to read energy. It's not magic, it's biology. For thousands of years, survival meant picking up on subtle emotional cues, knowing who was strong, who was reliable, who could protect and provide. That instinct hasn't faded in 2025. When your silence is layered with longing, regret, or desperation disguised as pride, she senses it. You might not text her, but if you're still checking her stories, refreshing her ex profile, or replaying old conversations, in your head, your energy is still tethered to her. And that's not silence. It's just a quieter way of chasing. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your silence isn't the problem. It's your reaction to her absence that's keeping you stuck. Let's break this down with a story. Meet Alex, a 28-year-old guy from Chicago. Alex was head over heels for his girlfriend, Sarah. When she left, he went cold turkey. No texts, no calls, nothing. He thought his silence would make her miss him, but every night, he'd scroll through her Instagram, dissecting her posts for clues. Was that new guy in her story a friend or something more? Was she happier now? His silence wasn't a choice. It was a reaction, a way to cope with the pain. And Sarah? She didn't just move on, she barely noticed. Why? Because Alex's silence wasn't grounded in strength. It was a performance, and she could feel it. Here's the hard pill to swallow. Women are drawn to men who are in motion, men who are growing, building, evolving. It's not about money or looks, it's about momentum. When your silence is just you sitting still, nursing your wounds, it doesn't create a void. It confirms her decision to leave. She doesn't miss you because your absence doesn't challenge her perception of you. You're still the same guy she walked away from, just quieter. Now, let's flip this. Imagine a silence that's rooted in purpose. Picture a man who doesn't just stop texting but stops needing her validation entirely. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about becoming hard to ignore. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we control. You can't make her miss you, but you can make yourself a man worth missing. Start by redirecting your energy. Instead of spending 30 minutes scrolling her profile, spend that time learning a high-income skill. maybe web development or digital. Marketing, fields booming in 2025. Instead of replaying old texts, hit the gym and aim to deadlift 300 pounds by next month. These aren't just tasks, they're declarations of your worth. When Alex figured this out, he changed the game. He started waking up at 5 a.m., hitting the gym before work, and reading books like Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. He took an online course in data analysis, landed a better job, and started saving for a house. His silence wasn't about Sarah anymore. It was about him becoming a man he respected. And you know what? People noticed. Friends started asking what his secret was. His confidence shifted, not because he was faking it, but because he was living it. And when Sarah saw a post of him speaking at a local meetup, looking sharper, stronger, more focused, that's when her mind started racing. Not because he was chasing her, but because he'd become someone she couldn't predict. That's the key, unpredictability. Women don't miss the man they know, they're drawn to the man they can't quite figure out. In 2025, attention is currency. The average American spends 7 hours a day on screens, most of it chasing distractions. Don't be that guy. Be the man who's too busy building his future to notice who's watching. Start a morning routine. 10 minutes of journaling, 20 minutes of exercise, 10 minutes of reading something that sharpens your mind. These small habits compound, and they signal to the world and to her that you're not waiting for anyone's approval. If you're stuck, wondering why she doesn't feel your absence, ask yourself, what's my silence saying? Is it weak, tethered to her, or is it strong, rooted in my own growth? Drop a comment below with one habit you're committing to this week to break that cycle. And stick with me, because up next, we're diving into how to turn your silence into a force so powerful it reshapes your entire life. You've stopped texting, stopped calling, maybe even blocked her number. But let's be honest, going silent isn't enough. It's not about disappearing. It's about what you do with that space. Silence without purpose is just emptiness, a void that doesn't challenge anyone, least of all her. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're not here to teach you how to play games or manipulate emotions. We're here to show you how to turn your silence into a force that rebuilds you from the ground up, using Stoic wisdom and practical steps you can apply in 2025. This is about becoming a man so grounded, so focused, that your absence becomes a statement, not to her, but to the world. Let's dive in. Silence, when done right, is deafening. It's not about punishing her or hoping she'll miss you. It's about redirecting every ounce of energy you once poured into her back into yourself. The Stoics, like Seneca, taught us that true wealth is self-mastery. When she walked away, she didn't just leave you. She handed you an opportunity to reclaim every bit of your power. But here's where most guys mess up. They go silent, but their mind stays loud with her. They're not building, they're brooding. That's not strength, it's stagnation. Let me tell you about a guy named Chris, a 32-year-old software engineer from Seattle. When his fiancée left him, he was wrecked. He went silent, ghosted her completely, but he was still trapped. He'd drive by their old favorite coffee shop, hoping to accidentally see her. He'd check her ex posts, telling himself he was just curious. His silence was a lie. He was still emotionally tethered. Then one day, he read a Stoic quote from Epictetus. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. That was his wake-up call. Chris realized he was wasting energy on something he couldn't control. So he flipped the script. He started waking up at 6 a.m., hitting the gym with a plan to bench press 225 pounds by year's end. He signed up for a coding boot camp to level up his skills, aiming for a promotion. He even started meditating, using apps like Headspace to clear his mind. His silence wasn't about her anymore. It was about him becoming a man he could look in the mirror and respect. Here's how you do it. First, cut the cord completely. Delete her number, unfollow her on every platform, and remove anything that pulls you back to that old version of you. This isn't petty, it's practical. You're not erasing her, you're clearing space for your growth. Next, build a routine that makes you bulletproof. In 2025, discipline is your superpower. Start your day with 15 minutes of body weight exercises, push-ups, squats, planks. No gym, no excuse. The average American man can't do 10 clean push-ups. Be the exception. Then, feed your mind. Read 10 pages of a book like Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, or listen to a podcast on Stoicism during your commute. Set a measurable goal. Maybe it's saving $5,000 by next summer, or running a 10K in under 50 minutes. These aren't just tasks. They're proof you're moving forward. Chris didn't just get stronger, he got smarter. He used his evenings to learn Python, a skill that landed him a $20,000 raise. He started hiking in the Pacific Northwest, finding peace in nature that no relationship could match. His silence became a signal, not of absence, but of presence. Man fully engaged in his own life. And when his ex saw him months later, thriving, confident, unrecognizable, that's when she texted him, not because he chased her, but because his transformation was undeniable. Here's the Stoic truth. You don't control her reaction, but you control your response. Your silence becomes strength when it's paired with action. Every time you feel that ache, that urge to check her profile, redirect it. Do 20 push-ups. Read a chapter. Write down one thing you're grateful for. In 2025, the world rewards men who move forward, whether it's in tech, fitness, or mental clarity. The average American spends 4 hours a day on their phone, half of it chasing validation. Don't be that guy. Be the man who's too busy building his legacy to notice who's watching. What's one action you're taking today to turn your silence into strength? Drop it in the comments. Maybe it's a new workout, a book you're reading, or a goal you're chasing. Let's hold each other accountable. And stick with me, because next we're exploring why your growth has to be real, not a performance, and how to make it so authentic that it changes everything. You've gone silent. You're hitting the gym, maybe even picking up new skills. But here's the trap most guys fall into. They do it for her. They post that gym selfie hoping she'll see it. They take that new job to prove they're better than her new guy. They think transformation is a performance, a way to win her back. But that's not growth. That's just another way of chasing. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're diving into why your growth has to be authentic, rooted in your own purpose, not her approval. This is about becoming a man so solid, so grounded, that your transformation speaks louder than any words ever could. Let's unpack this with Stoicism and real-world steps you can apply today. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, believed that true happiness comes from living in alignment with your values, not chasing external validation. When your silence is just a tactic, when your growth is just a show, it's fragile. It cracks the moment she doesn't notice or doesn't care, and she will sense it. Women aren't drawn to performances. They're drawn to authenticity, to men who are unapologetically themselves. Let me tell you about Ryan, a 30-year-old teacher from Austin. When his girlfriend left, he was crushed. He went silent, started hitting the gym, even posted some "look at me now" photos on X. But deep down, he was still checking her profile, hoping she'd like his posts. His growth was a facade, a desperate attempt to prove something, and it didn't work. She didn't care, and he felt worse. Then Ryan stumbled across a Stoic idea. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. That shifted everything. He realized he wasn't changing for himself. He was changing for her, and it was hollow. So he rewrote the script. Ryan started running, not to look good on Instagram, but because he wanted to feel alive. He set a goal to run a half marathon, 13.1 miles, in under 2 hours. He started teaching extra classes, not to flash a bigger paycheck, but to save for a dream trip to Japan. He began journaling, reflecting on his values, asking himself, who do I want to be in 5 years? His silence wasn't a game anymore. It was a byproduct of a life too full to care about who was watching. Authentic growth isn't about proving a point. It's about becoming a man who doesn't need to. In 2025, the world is noisy. Social media, hustle culture, constant comparison. The average American checks their phone 144 times a day, chasing likes, followers, validation. Don't play that game. Build something real. Start with one question. What's one thing I've always wanted to do but held back because I was too busy pleasing someone else? Maybe it's learning to play guitar. starting a side hustle, or just sitting quietly for 10 minutes a day to clear your mind, make it yours, not hers. Ryan's transformation wasn't loud. It was quiet, steady, undeniable. He didn't post about his runs or his new job. But when he crossed the finish line of that half marathon, sweating, smiling, surrounded by friends who'd seen his journey, his ex noticed. Not because he broadcasted it, but because authentic growth has a gravity that pulls people in. She texted him, asking how he'd changed so much. He didn't respond, not because he was playing hard to get, but because her opinion didn't define him anymore. That's the power of real growth. It's not about making her regret leaving. It's about making yourself regret staying small. Here's how you start. Pick one area of your life, physical, mental, financial, and set a goal that scares you. Maybe it's squatting 200 pounds, reading one book a month, or saving $100 a week. Track it. Measure it. In 2025, apps like Notion or Todoist can help you stay accountable. Tell a friend not to brag, but to have someone hold you to it. And when you feel that urge to check her profile, to see if she's watching, pause. Ask yourself, is this for me or for her? If it's not for you, it's not real. Your growth has to be so authentic that it doesn't need an audience. What's one goal you're setting today to grow for yourself? Drop it in the comments. Let's inspire each other. And stick with me, because next we're diving into the final piece. How to make your transformation so powerful that it becomes your legacy. You've gone silent, you're building new habits, and you're starting to grow for yourself, not for her. But this journey isn't just about getting over a breakup or proving a point. It's about something bigger, something that outlives her, outlives this moment, outlives you. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're talking about turning your transformation into your legacy, a life so purposeful that it inspires others long after you're gone. This is where Stoicism meets self-improvement in 2025, where your silence becomes a foundation for a man who doesn't just survive pain, but thrives through it. Let's dive into how to make this real. The Stoics believed that life's purpose is to live in accordance with nature, to be the best version of yourself no matter what comes your way. When she left, when your silence didn't bring her back, that wasn't the end of your story. It was the beginning of something greater. Your legacy isn't about her. It's about the man you become and the impact you leave behind. Let me tell you about David, a 35-year-old carpenter from Denver. When his wife left, he hit rock bottom. He stopped talking to her, but his silence was angry, bitter. He drank too much, let his work slip, and felt like his life was over. Then one day he found a quote from Seneca. "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." That hit him hard. He realized he wasn't just mourning a relationship, he was mourning the man he thought he was. So he decided to build a new one. David started small. He committed to 30 minutes of woodworking every evening, not to sell anything, but to create something with his hands. He started running, aiming for a 5-mile trail run in the Rockies. He joined a men's group, not to complain, but to share his goals and hold himself accountable. He even started volunteering, teaching kids in his community how to build simple furniture. His silence wasn't about his ex anymore. It was about creating a life that mattered. Your legacy starts with a choice: to stop being defined by what you've lost and start being defined by what you're building. In 2025, the world is full of noise, endless notifications, trending hashtags, pressure to keep up. The average American man spends 40 hours a week working a job that doesn't fulfill him. Don't let that be your story. Find something that lights you up. Maybe it's starting a YouTube channel to share your journey, like we're doing here on ZENLIGHT 8. Maybe it's mentoring a kid who needs guidance, or mastering a craft that makes you proud. Whatever it is, make it yours. David's transformation didn't just change him, it changed others. The kids he taught started coming to him for advice, not just about woodworking, but about life. His friends noticed his energy, his focus, and started asking how he did it. And when his ex saw him at a community event, surrounded by people who respected him, she didn't just text, she showed up, wanting to talk. But David wasn't the same man. He'd built a legacy that didn't need her approval. That's what You're aiming for a life so full, so purposeful, that her opinion becomes irrelevant. Here's how you start. Pick one thing you want to be remembered for. Maybe it's being the fittest guy in your friend group, able to run a 10K or deadlift 400 pounds. Maybe it's being the guy who always shows up for his family, or the one who starts a business that changes lives. Write it down. Make it specific. If it's fitness, commit to 3 workouts a week, tracking your progress with an app like MyFitnessPal. If it's financial, aim to save $10,000 in 12 months, cutting out 1 coffee run a week to start. If it's mental, meditate for 10 minutes daily, using a Stoic prompt like, "What can I control today?" These aren't just goals, they're the bricks of your legacy. In 2025, legacy isn't about fame or fortune, it's about impact. The average American will spend 90,000 hours at work in their lifetime. Make sure some of those hours build something that lasts. Share your progress with people who lift you up. Friends, family, or even us in the comments below. What's one thing you want your legacy to stand for? Drop it below and let's inspire each other to build something bigger than ourselves. And now, let's wrap this up with how to bring all this together into a life that's not just stronger, but unstoppable. You've heard it all. How to stop letting your silence be a cry for validation. How to make it a force for growth. And how to build a legacy that outlives any heartbreak. But here's the truth. None of this matters unless you act. The Stoics didn't just think about life, they lived it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." In 2025, living means taking control of your time, your energy, your purpose. Start today. Pick one action from this video. Maybe it's deleting her number, hitting the gym, or setting a goal that scares you. Make it small, but make it real. The average American wastes 2,000 hours a year on things that don't matter. Scrolling, worrying, waiting. Don't be that guy. Be the man who wakes up at 5 a.m. to chase his dreams, who reads 10 pages a day to sharpen his mind, who builds something so undeniable that the world can't help but notice. This is your wake-up call. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're not just talking about self-improvement. We're building a movement of men who refuse to stay small. If this hit you, if you felt the fire in these words, subscribe to ZENLIGHT 8 and join us. Drop a comment below with one thing you're committing to today, whether it's a workout, a new skill, or just letting go of what's holding you back. Share this video with a friend who needs to hear it. Let's wake up the men who are stuck, who are chasing when they should be building. Together, we're not just reclaiming our strength, we're redefining what it means to be a man in 2025. I'll see you in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Let's keep growing.